day, Paddington was opening his morning mail when he came across a letter inviting him to a rugby match. It seemed the Peruvian Reserves were playing a charity match against the Portobello Wanderers. "You can borrow one of my old rattles if you like," said Jonathan. "It had better work both ways," said Mrs. Bird. "Don't forget, Paddington's loyalties will be divided." "My loyalties are going to be divided?" exclaimed Paddington in alarm. "What do you mean?" "Well," said Judy, "you won't know which side to cheer on. Half of you will want the Portobello Wanderers to win, and the other half the Peruvian Reserves." Paddington considered the matter for a moment. "Perhaps," he announced, "I'll have 2 rattles, just to make sure." Paddington had never been to a rugby match before, and he was most excited as first one side seemed to be winning, and then the other. "It's what's known as a compromise, Mr. Brown," he explained. "Sounds like a ghastly noise to me," said Mr. Brown. But gradually, as things settled down, an air of gloom fell over the ground. It was a hard game, and first one and then another of the Peruvian side were carried off the field with injuries. Paddington grew more and more upset, and he gave the referee several hard stares through his opera glasses. "Oh dear," said Jonathan, "they don't stand a chance now." "Young Mr. Brown seems to be taking it very much to heart," said Mr. Gruber. "I think he's gone off for a bun." "No, he hasn't," exclaimed Judy. "Look." "Oh, Lord," said Mr. Brown. "Now what?" "Excuse me," said Paddington. "I've come to offer my services to the Peruvian Reserves." "I'm sorry," said the referee, "but I can't allow that. It has to be someone from the country concerned." Paddington gave the man another hard stare. "Well, I come from darkest Peru," he said firmly, "and I'm very concerned." The referee seemed to go a funny colour. Some of Paddington's stares could be very hard indeed. He looked at the ball, and then at the waiting players. "All right," he said. "You can have a go if you like. After all, it is a charity match." Paddington needed no second bidding. Before the referee had time to change his mind, he picked up the ball and threw it into the middle of the scrum. Then he stood back to await developments. "Thank you very much," he began, raising his hat politely. "Watch out!" cried Jonathan. "Too late," moaned Judy. Paddington sat up. He'd known rugby was a rough game, but never in his wildest dreams had he pictured it being quite so rough, and he could quite see why so many players had been carried off the field. But before he had a chance to say help, let alone get up, the pounding of feet grew louder again. "Here you are!" shouted a voice. "Catch!" Paddington fell over backwards in alarm. "I don't want it, thank you very much," he cried. "Oh dear, I can't watch," exclaimed Judy, as Paddington scrambled to his feet and hurried off down the field as fast as his legs would carry him. "Don't worry," said Mr. Gruber. "He hasn't got the ball in him." "He jolly well has," cried Jonathan. "Look, he had it under his duffel coat all the time. No wonder the other players couldn't find it." "Good old Paddington, he's scored a try. They've won the match, Crikey. "What's up?" began Judy. "Oh. Will someone please tell me what's going on?" said Mr. Brown. "Oh, dear Henry, look." "Excuse me," said Paddington. "I'd like you to meet someone. It's my Aunt Lucy. She's come all the way from the Home for Retired Bears in Lima with the Peruvian Reserves Supporters Club. And she'd like to stay for a while. That is, if she may."